Welcome to another thrilling edition of Enterprise Friday right here on Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. And before we go to our newspaper review segment, we implore you to please join us and have a say in what we say by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV7 and do visit our website every day at www.enterprisetvnews.com. My guests today in the studios to do justice to our newspaper reviews and possibly take us on our main conversation for this morning are Opioluwa Taiwo, an accountant and public affairs analyst, and Cyril Abaku, a public affairs commentator and a journalist. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Enterprise Television.
Thank you.
Thank God it's Friday.
TGIF.
TGIF. All right, so quickly let's head on to our newspaper review segment to see what we have. But of course, we're starting with an exclusive story coming from Premium Times, and we have it authoritatively that a presidential jet, a Nigerian government to buy foreclosed aircraft from a German bank, and we have it. More sketches on the story, and it says the identified aircraft is said to be a repossessed one recovered from a troubled oil sheikh who used the aeroplane as collateral for a loan he obtained from an unidentified German bank to buy it. Gentlemen, well, this is coming from the Premium Times. Though as time winds down, we will get more information on this particular story. But if we see this as a possibility, what does this mean for a country, a wonderful country like Nigeria? Let me start with you, Cyril Abaku.
Well, this is an unprecedented turn of events from the point of view of citizens. But for those in government, I think it's a fait accompli. They made up their minds long ago. I fear that we may be playing catch up now because there's a great possibility that payment may already have been made. You never know how these things work. Only a few, was it last week or so, right? Was when the story broke. We just had that, some weeks ago, the technical subcommittee of the House of Reps said the president needed to get a new jet, he and the vice president. That was where the story came out. It didn't even come from those who needed it. It came from the House of Reps. The next thing, the presidency picked it up, then all of that, I think, was just a script to inform Nigerians and notify them that indeed we are going to buy a new aircraft. It wasn't about should we or should we not. It was their minds were already made up. Senate President Akpabio said first spoke to the left, then yesterday he spoke to the right. So he too now is on the same page with the House of Reps. It was 2 days ago or so that the cable reported that they were going to charge the purchase of the aircraft to the supplementary budget, and that they were going to source the money from the Sovereign Wealth Fund. By this morning, we are hearing that they've already identified the aircraft in Germany by an Arab sheikh who couldn't pay back his debt to a German bank. We are hearing that the bird, you know what I mean? The aircraft is extremely customized for executive use. And so first we're going to buy second-hand aeroplane for the president, right? And that it is being managed.
Something used and dumped by someone.
Well, not used and dumped. He used it and it was good enough to act as collateral for a loan. Yeah. Then there's an American aviation company in Miami that is maintaining the aircraft for the bank. Another source is saying there are sources. Premium Times has a very elaborate report. This, if you read it, they said that that they are looking for sources of where to get the money, including service-wide vote. Then service-wide vote is actually like security vote. It's a vote in the presidency, as far as I know it, from which they say, okay, we've done everything we can do, but there are exigencies. That's like your go-to fund.
Like stipends.
Again, that's where they pay former heads of state from. You see what they tie to it? Okay. So it's like a compulsory vote that they must have every year. Yeah. But it's also from it that they do, like you said, miscellaneous spending. Now, but again, we were told, well, from the report, that the aircraft is worth about $600 million, which is quite a humongous sum. That's like a luxury buy, isn't it? And then we're not talking of maintenance yet, too, because there's a Swiss company that does maintenance for Nigeria. then for the presidential fleet, right? Then we also are talking about the fact that the federal government is offering from this report, is offering about, they said as little as or as low as a little over $100 million.
So we're talking about 15 billion naira.
Wait. A government that could buy a yacht without appropriation. You see the way Nigeria works, right? For the fact that we're even talking about an identified aircraft, you know, in my place when they want to marry, you don't just go and pay bride price. That's what they call knocking the door first. Knocking the door is like saying, I have come to register my intention. You take your first receipt and go. It means that it's like saying spoken for. So I can assure you, okay, that this yet has been spoken for already. All what we are doing here is to bless, you know, like they say, to bless the message. It's just to talk around it. But I can assure you that they've already done something. By this evening, another exclusive report will come out. Say that they cited some documents saying that Nigerian engineers, the Air Force engineers were already in Germany to look at to start talking with the bank or something. Yes, so every time we're playing catch up. But the issues I have raised concerning the president's safety and travel has been whether we even really need an aircraft now or not. Whether we can afford an aircraft now or not. Whether it is even, if you took a letter to the presidency, Henry, to say you want to invite the president to a wedding or to a child naming ceremony, let's even assume you would honor it. Any kind of event. Normally, you must take that letter to the presidency 6 months, 3 months, even sometimes a year ahead of time. Because heads of state have to plan their schedule well ahead of time, right? So the president already knows where he will go and where he will not go. He can do Sala in Abuja. Why don't they plan the president's trip for the next 4 years and say, okay, can't even fly commercial? He could. Because $600 million is quite a lot of money. Even if you have to pay $50 million today, it's a lot of money. So why can't they plan the president's travels within a period of time and say, okay, is it more profitable to, buy a jet or fly commercial? That's one. Because the Singaporean government, they were doing the commercial thing until one day, I think it was the IMF or WHO told them that World Bank told them, we can't be treating you as third world anymore. You guys have you've migrated. But Nigerian people will travel to those same conferences with aircraft, park it where to be parking what's it called? Demorage. So you're going to pay for money, but before the money even comes, you've spent 1.5 of the money you went to go and pay. It's about priority and curbing waste in government. What do we need the jet for? Okay. Then, importantly, the aircraft the 10 aircraft in the presidential fleet. Why? What is wrong with them?
Many have been alleged to be unserviceable.
They've spent 86 billion naira servicing them since 2016. So what is really wrong with them? Isn't that more than the money you use to go and buy an aircraft? In business, do you know why big businessmen don't use equity to begin businesses? Even Dangote today, to open up Dangote fund as well as he was, did he use the money to open it? He took a loan, which he said that now he has paid back, right? They take loan to be, you know why? Because money has a character. Where I'm going with this is simple. The presidency could have said, let us sell the ones in the fleet. If there are 10, let's sell about at least 7 or 8. We can now raise money from the sale and add up with whatever little that we may have and buy extra 2. Nobody said the Nigerian president must travel in an extremely customized executive aircraft. What you need is mobility. Look, for crying out loud, you are a third or fourth world country. There's no money. You're trying to curb waste in government. You already have enough of misplaced priorities. 15 billion naira to build to renovate, or what's it called, to paint the vice president's house. Another trillions to build the road from Calabar to Lagos. 90 billion naira for Hajj. Could that money have been used to buy this aircraft? Or the aircraft is coming as an after 90 billion naira for Hajj. Last year, 2.2 trillion naira supplementary budget, and the whole money was spent between 2 months or even within a month. So these are the issues. There are ways. Look, this thing doesn't cost an arm and a leg. You want to buy new aircraft, sell the old ones first. Raise money from that. Pending that time, Awolowo used to come in the 80s. He said, if he was president, he will not travel out of Nigeria. That anything international, he will send the vice president to go. He will be in Nigeria to fix the problems. The president wants to Uduhaji will come to Lagos at whose expense?
All right.
It is private.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? He will choose the inaugurations he will attend in Africa. Not all are important. Okay? Then the meetings he must attend, UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, WEF, the World Economic Forum, and all. Yes, so you plan the ones you go for so that you can save money and shop money for your country.
All right, talking about saving money for the country, some may call it economic flamboyance, but the truth remains President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the first citizen of Nigeria, and his safety is of the highest priority in this particular case. Where is a little bit more disturbing is the fact that the transaction in itself, it is coming not so transparent like it should be. But my question is, do you really think it is worth giving the president a flamboyant aircraft for his safety in this particular case?
All right, thank you for that question. For me, as an ex-banker who understand the rudiment of, building a sustainable business for either a tier 1, tier 2, or a tier 3 businesses. Now, one thing we must understand is that for me, I have a paradigm shift to all of this conversation. I'm looking at it from the angle of the business success and business development models. Now, number one, having the procedural pattern for the acquisition of the jets. Some of the process might not be open to you and I. That one is acceptable. All right, for security reasons, government confidentiality. That's just by the way. All right. So number two, what is happening to our jets? We have more than 6, 7 to 10. Like a serious sale, is it possible that we sell 6, they remain 4, and use it to upgrade those 4?
But it's not as easy as we might think it is.
Yes, we're not having that conversation.
It's not puff.
Yes, we're having that
you can sell anytime.
Now, I'm going to where you just mentioned now. One thing we must understand is that this is 21st century. We can't be thinking as if we're in the 18th or 17th century. Is it not possible that we have what we call like something like a customized PPP arrangement? Whereby, if I'm buying these jets, let it come with an insurance and let it come with a renewable figure. Whereby, after every 10 years, this particular jet will have been obsolete due to wear and tear, due to reduction in value. All right. So whoever is selling this aircraft to Nigeria should come back after 10 years and pick up that aircraft and give me a latest aircraft at a discounted price that will not be humongous as highly enumerated online.
That is in
can't you have that kind of conversation?
Yeah, it is true and it's real. But let's be very practical and pragmatic. The kind of government we run in Nigeria is such that the transition between one government to another is not that smooth. There's no continuity. What you would do as the president of the country coming from 1999 might be different from what I would do. So do you think that style or that system is possible when there's this perception about a governance from every leader?
Now, that's a good sentiment you have brought up, but that sentiment is no more acceptable to all of us as a Nigerian citizen. It's not acceptable anymore. Whoever wins the power, it doesn't matter. Let governance continue. For instance, what is happening to our power sector? Privatization, right? When Tinubu came in, was he able to remove all the investors? The answer is no. It has been signed, and it has been signed. Can't we have the same thing for the aircraft? So that whoever comes in, even if it's a zero-party member that win the presidential seat, we abide by that rule of the business of the government. Whereby, when you purchase an aircraft today, like for instance, they're about to purchase an aircraft, I can say that sell 6, impute the money, and buy 3 to make it 7. And those 3 you're going to buy, let's add an arrangement that 3 will serve the presidency for the next 10 years. And immediately it is 10 years, another aircraft will be supplied to the presidency at a very cheaper rate. That's the conversation we should be having. That is business-oriented government. Not all this embezzlement system of government.
It is the reason some of us even fault the idea of going to a bank to purchase an aircraft through a bank. They are bankers. They've given a loan. They themselves are relying on a third party to check the state of the aircraft, whether it was good for collateral or not. Okay. They themselves are relying on a third party to tell them, to advise them how much they should sell the airplane to Nigeria, assuming that was the case. So that third party thing, or automatically there's incur. You think the bankers are the ones that will incur cost for that one? They will pay, but when you want to buy that aircraft,
you have
to have everything back to you.
Absolutely.
That's the number two is the fact that what Chokpa said is brilliant. Now, why aren't we going to in Nigeria when you want to buy a car? It is only in extreme cases when you go to a bank to buy commodities. That maybe when the bank is doing an auction. Otherwise, you go to a car vendor to select what you buy. So I'm wondering why we didn't go to Europe to look for people selling aircraft. Now bank on our go.
All right, so we can go on and on and on, on that particular very interesting story. We hope that we will get more developing narrative on that particular story. But let's move on to the Punch newspaper. The big story here says federal government rolls out 1 trillion palliative massive construction project, and the writer here says 3.7 million families to get 540 billion naira grant, 155 billion naira for assorted food and others. And the sub-writer there says federal government to begin massive road, rail construction, CNG bus distribution in states FCT. Okay, when would we stop having palliative as the only solution or the best solution to run a government?
All right. Well, when we talk about palliative, whoever has brought palliative to Nigeria is one of the biggest enemy of Nigeria. And it's one of the biggest demons in the 21st century. When we talk about sustainability, palliative is not acceptable. I've said it before and I'm saying it again. We are not accepting any form of palliative. The only palliative that could have been acceptable, maybe let's say 40%, should have been economic palliative. When we talk about economic palliative, or we can call it systematic palliative, or in the past they call it a subsidy. So we can call it a systematic palliative. Whereby, for instance, as of today, you buy a Toyota car for 1.5 million, 2 million, UK used. Import duty is of 3.5 million. So the import duty is even higher than the price of the car. Is that not a economic misfortune for us already? So why don't we reduce our import? The import duties we are even incurring. All this figure, what are we using figure to? Are we maintaining the land at the ports? Or what are the instruments? Or we are maintaining the custom at the ports? What are we maintaining? So can't we have a case whereby if you are importing social number of cars, your figure will be 1 million naira, from 3.5 million to 1 million naira. So adding that 1 million to 1.5, that's 2.5 million. So, and also ensure that whoever is buying that car, whatever price or whatever fee they're supposed to pay, either to state government or local government, is adequately paid, including what do you call it, authorization, including what plate number and the rest. All right. So what does that mean? You can see that the citizen is getting relieved economically.
Were you one of those? Were you one of those that was excited when the president declared subsidy was gone?
That the subsidy is gone.
Yes.
I was one of you that was excited.
You were excited.
Yes, I was excited.
Do you regret that excitement today?
Yeah, that excitement is no more. It's no more excitement. It's becoming another thing, which I don't have the name for now. Because the reason why the excitement is changing now is because the path is not smooth, and the path was not properly forecasted. There must be economic projection for the nation, and that's why I'm saying that all the citizen palliative is no more acceptable. Because you can imagine, I saw a governor. Look at Zulu, a state governor. Are we saying that we are going back to 17th century? We are going back to what? Primitive economic pattern, where a state governor is distributing 50,000 naira each to an individual. In the north, that's not acceptable. We mean a state governor, not a local government chairman. A state governor, Governor Zulu of Borno State. It's not acceptable. No, well, it is not. I don't care the sentiment that it is not, it is out, it's not acceptable. Instead of you sharing 50,000 naira to those people, why don't you increase the allocation to the health sector? Okay. Why don't you increase the allocation to the education sector? Whereby somebody like me that have 5 children, all right, in the north, in quotes, what do you think will happen? My children will be excited to go to school because they know that all their textbooks will be provided for. Their work will be sorted out. And when they get to school, there will be breakfast and there will be lunch like UK or Europe.
No, but
so when you have all of those conversations, that is much better and that's more successful. Do you know that if you're having those kind of incentives in the health and educational sector, invariably you are creating jobs for other people? That's what we don't know. But when you are sharing 50,000 naira, do you know what you are doing? You are removing job from the circulation.
Do you agree
so it is
that?
a danger.
No,
I do not accept that.
No, I don't.
I do not accept that Zulu sharing of 50,000 naira.
Governors,
I do not accept that.
Governors, I will do what I usually wouldn't have done. Governor Zulum of Borno State is a unicorn. He stands out very differently from all the other governors. He's a professor. Okay. He's a man of personal integrity for which I can stick my neck out any day. I've never seen any governor in Nigeria that built primary schools with air conditioners in them, story buildings.
As White Elephant or
No.
for the
He has
fact?
done it.
Okay.
Confirmed. Health centers and so on. What?
Did you verify?
Of
No,
course
he did. He did actually.
And
he went
did.
there.
Yeah, he did. No, of course. The
I
stories
have to
we
go there.
we
No,
have.
you have to go there.
No, please.
You have to go there.
Please.
Is it verified?
Hold on. This is a governor who has done over and above what the average governor in Nigeria would have, would do. Left to me alone, he should be president of Nigeria.
Okay.
Given his track record. So when you see him doling out those monies, I think that there's a backstory behind it. I am for welfareism to an extent, but palliatives ought to be condemned. I don't couch that 50,000 is given out as palliatives. I don't.
Oh,
I
okay.
think yes,
It's one of.
Or let's even say it was a broader welfare package for the people. Palliatives, as we're seeing it today, right? Is that it has even become you gave money and you saw it. How many people governors gave money and you saw? Or even gave rice and you saw? Did you get rice during palliative distribution? Okay, did you get rice?
For the federal government?
Yes.
I got rice.
Oh, okay. Good.
It all depends on the quantity, actually. Because one cup of rice is.
So, but to be fair to the governor, okay, he is a man who has left from the front, unlike many of his colleagues. So, in his, one can look at it as okay, is a one-off. But the palliative palaver that we are in, it won't go away anytime soon. You know why? Because it has come to create a safe conduit to steal money. So much so that Buhari went and took some millions of dollars from World Bank to distribute sanitary pads to women. Who does that? And why will the international lender be giving you money to do money to what you won't make interest on? To give back, just to say that those loans are also ways of trapping Nigeria down.
All right, so while we talk about trapping Nigeria down, and lastly, let's move on to the Vanguard newspaper. And the big story here says minimum wage again. Let each state negotiate what it can pay, and that's coming from governors. A pro-Wike group falls to Fubara's claim on bombing of Rivers Hotel. So, gentlemen, I don't know if it's possible for us to, in less than 2 minutes, if we can maybe bring these two stories together. I would love you to take on that one after another. Pro-Wike group follows Fubara's claim on bombing of Rivers State, and let each state governor dictate what they can pay. So let's start with you.
Ideally, minimum wage ought to be a decentralized issue. The governors ought to be the ones leading from the front. Even in America, where we borrow a lot of these things from, the minimum wage differs from state to state. Yes, so it is okay, let the governors fix. It means that whatever is fixed in any state is what will apply even for private sector in each of those states as well.
Oh, okay.
That's one. Then number two, except we change our laws and say companies should, because since they pay company income tax to the federal government, so they should. So therefore they should pay the federal government's minimum. Whatever the laws are going to be, is fine. Then secondly, on the rivers bombing. The fact that bomb is even involved in the matter is a shame. It should not even be discussed at all. If we are using, but why should I be surprised? There was a man who, as Speaker of his own state of House of Assembly, was accused of bombing the assembly after I think was impeached. He bombed the House of Assembly. Today he's on Tinubu's cabinet as minister. Is that not a reward for
bombing?
Nigeria is a wonderful country. Minimum wage. Why are we having a conversation now from the governors? the act that established minimum wage every 5 years. The governor shouldn't have waited for NLC to protest. Once it's about to 5 years, look at your pockets, look at your allocation. What can we afford? Present it to Mr. President in advance, even before the NLC cries out. That is when we understand that we are running a government. And that's one of the reasons why I'm one of the people that is always, I love what NLC is doing, but I am always annoyed with their process. They are too reactionary.
But that's the best they can do now.
NLC should be precautionary. Give analysis of what has happened, what is happening, and what is
they've
but they've done that. They've done that countless times.
What meeting the NLC came with data and said even when they said 15,000 naira, there was data to back it up.
Yeah.
First sector brought it up. Federal government, the minister said, Pam said you speak. Pam said, you director, you speak. Director, until one of them now spoke.
Now this way I'm going.
50,000 naira.
This way I'm going. The data is incomplete yet. If you are looking at it, the
NLC.
From NLC, the data.
Well, government should even produce something now.
Who is government? Is NLC. Who is NLC? Is government. Because
it is the workers. It is the workers less than
it is the workers that are working for the government.
Yeah.
Who prepare budget? It's not civil servants.
No, but
who prepare budget? It's civil servants. This one going. Hold on.
The union.
This will going. The data is incomplete. Tell the federal government you've been paying us 5 trillion in the last 5 years, and you're getting it from our foreign reserve. If you pay us 10 trillion going forward, you can manage what is coming from the inland revenue tax plus import duties plus crude oil. You can be able to manage it. So they will have no way to excuse themselves. Because the only excuse the government is giving is that they don't have money.
The NLC
whereas they have the money.
Government how to pay them. Because the government didn't tell NLC that they're going to take subsidy away.
Exactly.
I mean, on that table, it is you versus me. Well, if you don't know how to, if you want me to tell you how you can raise money to pay, then I can school you. But if even that would be shameful, you raised the subsidy.
You remove subsidy.
Didn't you think of the consequences? They are a union at the level. In fact, what the Labour president come to say as union president, right? After the union meetings, you can't issue a query from his behavior at that table because the union president. If you try it, he can shut government down. This is what I'm going to say. Government didn't do its homework well. Look at the president. They brought the memo to him during FEC on Tuesday. Then he stepped in and said that they will consult more. What have you been waiting for since the report has been ready?
It's the same thing I'm saying. There's a challenge from the government in terms of data engagement. There's also a challenge from the NLC. And two of them must meet.
Yeah.
So that is why I'm saying that I will not shield NLC out of all this conversation. They must be proactive going forward, because this, like I usually say, this is 21st century. You can't be having conversation like you're having in 17th century. This days and time has to be with what? Verifiable figures of the pros and the cons. So if government does not have their research accurately, so are you saying you are going to follow that same line? No, you should be ahead of the government.
All right, so we can go on and on and on, but for the want of time, we just have to, place a wrap on this segment right about now. I would love to say thank you to Cyril Abaku and Oluwa for being part of our show. And just to let you know, both gentlemen will be here to take us on our main conversation for today. But when we return, Nigerians raise alarm over NIN data leak online. Details in a moment. Please don't go anywhere.